Hello guys, I hope it's sharp. We're just gonna continue with the series of videos that I've been putting on this channel. So far, I've given you an analysis on Nasdaq. If you haven't watched that, I suggest you start with that one, and then before coming to this one, this is going to be we are going to do the same approach, same top-down analysis, but now this time around we're looking at VIX 75. We haven't checked this one in a while, and I did have some trades here. I just took them out so that I can just start on a clean chart, right? So if you're new here or you've watched maybe one of our videos before, this is your second one, for instance. If you like this style of trading, you can just give us a like and a sub there. Or also, if you want to learn this style of trading further, you can always text me, and then I will try and teach you from scratch until you can approach the chart the same way that I do. So far, since I started teaching people, there's been the positive side and the negative side, but on the negative side, really, there's nothing that I could do, right? Because the negative side was that there was one guy in group number one, I'm not going to mention him. He exited the group regardless of how much I've been trying, going an extra mile to keep everyone happy. He started so well. I don't know why, what happened towards the end. He exited the group. I was like, this guy, he will never find any other person that's gonna teach him the same way that I was teaching him, going extra mile, always availing myself. I don't know what was happening on his side, but otherwise it's been positive feedback and left, right, and center with all the groups that I've taught so far. So otherwise, that's why I've decided to continue, because it seems like I'm doing the right thing. Because everyone, when you reach the end, they will tell you that they haven't really came across someone who made things so simple for them. Because sometimes I understand when I explain the stuff on this channel, doing the analysis, because I'm not going into deeper details in terms of the concepts. But when you are in the mentorship, I start you from the foundation. We go up until we reach the top. So let's get started. This is our VIX 75, and we always start with the highest time frame, guys. You can't do your analysis on M5 if you're trading M5 and do M5 only. You always need to start from the bottom, from the top, and work all the way down to the time frames that you're going to be trading. So this is our monthly chart, and we just need to know where is our support and where is our nearest resistance. So here, at some point, we've been playing here as our nearest support for a while. But when we came, remember, this is something that I always tell you guys. We came here, we looked for trades, we got them, we went up until the next opposite structure, right? And then it came back. That's when you're like, no, it's going to be difficult for me to trust them again here. Yes, you can trust them on your smaller time frames, but you need to be careful. You need to make sure that whatever you do there, you get confirmation for it, because it's not going to be safe, for you to trust the bulls here. Whereas they pushed up, they failed to maintain that move. They just got defeated and pushed back into the zone. And when the best did that, they pushed them down. They got this, which is what? Bearish engulfing. So having a bearish engulfing at a support is not a good sign for the bulls. The zone is for the bulls. You expect to find bullish structures, but if you are there forming some bearish rejection candlesticks, that's just like what we had on Nasdaq. If you watch the video, we did have that bearish engulfing at a support, and I said it's not a good thing. It's not a good thing. You cannot turn a blind eye to such things, especially when they happen on your higher time frames, because of what? That could end up giving you the direction as to like where we will be going in the next days, coming days, weeks, or even a month or so, right? So we can't turn a blind eye. So when we move down, then we moved lower than this, which means that support has been taken out. You have to shift down to the next support. Then there we had what? This is your nearest support after that one, since that one was taken out. So this is your support, and you can say that in terms of a resistance, because of this white candlestick you have there was definitely something happening there. Then you can say anywhere from here there's something happening. It was bulls, bears fighting there. So that's when you can say anywhere from this is my resistance, and then this is my support. We are touching the support. We've got a high chance of what? Moving up until that resistance, right? So you can approach it that way. So on your monthly chart, remember we had this was your trend line at some point, and this being the resistance is the one that pushed down and broke that trend line. So you need to be careful. That's why when you hit that resistance, you cannot expect, yes, it's possible, but for the price to do something like this, it's not going to be easy, because that resistance is the one that broke it broke the area of support that you had there, and it broke the trend line. So meaning when the price gets there, you wouldn't be wrong to try and sell to the downside, because of what? We are now bearish because of that resistance. So maybe this will just be a push to that before dropping again, but we will see when the price gets there. That's if it gets there. So but in conclusion, price is bouncing from a monthly area of what? A monthly area of support. It is now moving towards the monthly area of resistance, which is the one that pushed down, breaking two key structures So it's a very strong area of resistance. Let's check how the price looks like on our weekly. Then this is what you had, right? Let's see if this was taken out when the price came here. Yes, it was taken out. So it means on weekly the support you have is the one here, which is not yet not yet tested. I think yes, not yet tested. But we know that even if the price doesn't get there, it will be reacting from the bigger monthly zone, which starts here. So basically your weekly is here, which is inside the monthly, not yet tested, but the monthly is being tested. And on weekly, since we look like this, the weekly trend line, the bearish one, because weekly is definitely bearish, just like the monthly. The weekly bearish trend line is this one there, and then we have this as our nearest, what do you call this? Our nearest zone or our nearest resistance. We are hitting the nearest resistance, which is fresh, never been hit before. And but if this one is taken out, maybe you could even go to, there's definitely something happening there, which will be around the old support, and it will also be around the trend line. But even the current one can still reject the price, but you need to be careful with what you entering there, because if you are trying to enter there, make sure that you get a proper confirmation. Why? Because you can't jump in. If the price is coming from a monthly one, you can't try with a limit order and just say you will fight that. You need to wait for the price at that weekly resistance to show you that it wants to reverse. Then you can say, based on how it looks there, then I can enter. All right. And again, if you look at what we had last week, it was this, which is what? A bullish rejection candlestick. You had the resistance. Yes, the price was rejected when that resistance was hit for the first time, because we moved from this until here. So we moved until there before coming back. So that's the reaction that you got. That's why I'm saying when you hit the next opposite structure, just exit. The amount you made is more than enough. Exit, let the market decide what it wants to do there. Based on that, you will decide whether you want to enter again to the downside or you want to continue moving to the upside. Now we are left with this, which is bullish rejection candlesticks, but it is still not something that you can trade and say, because I'm having this, let me just go ahead and buy. Because of what? The resistance here is your next one. We're just around it. We haven't broken it. So if you're trying to fight that, it's going to be not a wise move. That is why I'm saying we don't trade against any structure. We don't trade and say it has to be taken out. No, we trade until it is hit. Then we are out. Then the market decides if whether it wants to break it. At least if it breaks it, it will open more space for you to continue taking trades to the upside. But until that happens, you're not gonna turn a blind eye and act like you don't see that you are hitting the resistance. So the resistance is basically here. This is your weekly resistance, and remember the weekly support is the one that we said is somewhere around there, just not yet hit. So maybe we'll just touch that, go to that support before having a strong move to the upside to at least remember this monthly resistance, because remember it starts there. So maybe it will do that, but we don't know that. We don't know that is yet. So we can say that on weekly, basically you are at the weekly resistance. So if you are to get trades to go short, but with what? With confirmation, you will take that. And also when we left this monthly resistance, when we're moving up on weekly, we did have what? Bullish engulfing. Immediately after that, we had what? Bullish rejection candlestick. So there are some signs that are saying the post, they're still not yet done. But until they can break that resistance, and even their space is very limited, because if they were to take this resistance now, they are reaching what? The monthly resistance. So they have a really small space to work within. But let's see how it looks like as we're moving to the downside. Yeah, this is where things happened. All right. This is your what do you call this? This was your bearish trend line when the price was barely bearish, and then we touched the monthly support, which is why I'm saying it is important for you to know where you are, because if you don't, you'll be trading against key structures. Because if the time when the price was still like this, if you didn't know that you were touching the monthly support, you were going to continue selling, because of what? You are bearish. But look what the price did. You touch that support, you have this bullish rejection candlestick, you broke the range of that candlestick, and then after that, you never looked back. You just took off, which is what you could be using to say, I know we are hitting the monthly support. I'm trading on daily. Then now I'm getting the daily rejection candlestick, and then I put maybe a buy stop above that rejection candlestick to say that should the range of this rejection candlestick be broken, I'm in that trade. Then it took off just like that, all the way until the weekly resistance. That's when, remember, I said that weekly resistance was hit here and we did reject. You can see it moved up, moved down until there, which is why I'm saying you hit that structure, you just exit, let the market decide on what it wants to do. And then when it moved to the downside, remember this was your bearish trend line. When it moved to the downside, it came across this here, which is what this guy in group one, Tabang, his name is Tabang. He likes this one. Tabang Mashidu, he likes this one, and I always tell you that he needs to be careful with them. Yes, they are there, they are imbalances, but you need to be careful with them. Make sure that you take them with what? With confirmation, because of what? The color, so it's otherwise you're gonna end up seeing them everywhere. So you need to be taking them with confirmation, but in this case, it got hit and then it got reversed. So we just don't yet have a new high, but we tend there, moved back to the weekly resistance. So now you're still inside the weekly resistance, meaning if you're trying to buy, hey, I don't know what we'll be seeing, but it's possible that you can buy and say you're targeting that monthly resistance there. But why do you think this weekly resistance is going to be taken out? You see, which is why I'm saying we need to be careful with how we do things. You cannot be trading against such a strong structure and tell us that you think it's going to be broken. Why do you think it's going to be broken? Because this structure is there, still valid, still holding. Until it is taken out, don't trade against it. So that's all that you can see on daily. I mean, we bounced from this, we moved up back to the weekly resistance. Even when you hit that weekly resistance on daily, remember on daily, this is your watch. This is your daily resistance, which is inside the weekly resistance, the bigger one. So you hit that daily resistance inside the weekly one, then you reversed. This is your support. And then you hit the support, you're going back to the resistance, which is still inside the bigger one. And now it's only a matter of saying what's going to happen when we get there. What's going to happen around here. Are we going to go back to the support? Are we going to break this and move to the weekly monthly support? We will see about that. So let's check how the H4 chart looks like. This is our H4. We were moving up nicely even on H4. Remember on daily, this is where you had that pin bar. The pin bar was somewhere around here on daily. On H4, you had what we call bullish engulfing, which, remember, the bears were pushing down strongly. Then when you're having the bullish engulfing, you're saying the bulls are becoming aggressive. They pushed up, and then they, remember on H4, this was your next opposite structure, and then it was broken, and then you took off another bullish rejection candlestick. That's when you pushed up until you hit that weekly area of resistance. From there, you started coming to the downside, breaking all the structures that you formed when you're moving to the upside, and then breaking them, becoming bearish, and then this being your next opposite what? The next opposite structure or the resistance. You pushed back to it, got rejected, and then came back until here. You went back to the same zone, no longer fresh, no longer safe for you to execute because of what? It is no longer fresh. You can only take it with what? With confirmation. These are the rules that I give the guys in the mentorship. But now if you look at this, I want to show you something. If you look at this, when you're moving up, remember that is the highest point you reached. This was your nearest support, but you could not execute from that support simply because you are inside a weekly zone, coming from a weekly zone, moving to the downside. You cannot use that H4 support to try and fight the weekly resistance and the daily resistance. It was not a good move. So you basically moved to the downside, and then you broke what? You broke the support, you broke the trend line. That's when you're like, this time frame is now bearish, which is why you could search for trades there. Now it's coming back. The zone is no longer fresh. We're going all the way up to what? This zone. Remember, this is the zone that is a H4 resistance inside the daily resistance, inside the weekly resistance, and it is a very special one because of what? It is the one that pushed down and broke this support, and it broke the trend line, which is why now when the price went back to it, it got rejected. It got rejected with what? Even what? This strong candlestick giving you the bearish engulfing. So now let's assess this current structure that we are seeing here. On this time frame, we have got, I don't think we have a breakout yet. Let's see. We can put it somewhere around there. We don't yet have a breakout. We haven't even taken out any structure because of what? The trend line is not yet broken, and the support is not yet broken. So we don't yet have a breakout, meaning we can't yet say we will sell around that. When you're selling, you'll be selling from the daily resistance, weekly resistance, but you need to have a proper confirmation, because even on your H4, the momentum hasn't shifted. The structure is still bullish. So maybe if when it was pushing down, if it had pushed lower than that, then you'll be targeting that resistance that did all of that to say when it moves back, I can anticipate something like that. But in this case, it's a different story because of what? Yes, we pushed to the downside, but we failed to push and break the structures of that trend, the one that is currently in, which is why I'm saying, even though you are inside a weekly, daily, and all those structures, when you get your trade on this H4, when you're saying the next opposite structure, we mean the structures on the time frame, that you are trading. If I'm trading H4 and then I get a trade there and then I execute, this will still be my nearest structure. This will still be my nearest structure, meaning my take profit will be around those structures, not the ones on daily, weekly. No, I'm not executing those. I'm executing H4. So meaning, and I'm looking for the nearest support, nearest trend line. We're looking at the ones on the same time frame on H4. So there you were supposed to exit using what? This support and this trend line. That's it. So now, because we're saying this time frame not yet broken, what do you call this? Let's just put we can remove the weekly what do you call this, the weekly resistance, because we do know we're inside the weekly resistance, and then just mark the month the H4 resistance that is inside the weekly resistance, which is the one that is hit there. And we just want to see how the price is going to react there, because the last time it went there, got rejected, pushed the price back to the support, back to the trend line. Now it looks like it's going to go back to the same resistance, but you can't sell anymore because of what? That zone is there, got the first reaction, but it's no longer fresh. So if you want to execute around it again, you need to get confirmation. So let's do one more time frame, maybe H1, and just see how H1 looks like. H1, you can even put this here and say this is my H1 trend line. And then we pushed up, and then we came to the downside, did this, did that, which allowed us to have H4 bearish trend line. But now the problem is that the zone that you're having at this swing high, it's not a good zone, because look at the type of a candlestick you have there. So meaning, because of that, you can't take it now. And again, the trend line is no longer holding. So it's a tough one there. So which means patience, patience, patience. You just have to wait. Currently, the structure is really not giving you the vibe that you want to see. I would execute it, because of what? It is really not doing any justice. So maybe on M15, you go with this, because of what? This is definitely, I'm not, unless if I'm seeing things, but I think this is definitely higher high. Yes, we did move higher than that, which means on this time frame, your trend line is here. This is your support, and that's your trend line. So maybe on this time frame, you would get the change in the momentum or the change in the structure by doing this. Then you're targeting that, hope that it will push down back into what do you call this, back into that zone. Maybe you'll get that, then back into around there. Just to remember, when you're setting the next opposite structure, you're going to use the time frame that you're executing on. So on a bigger time frame, it will be back around this. So that's what you can look out for. So currently buying, it's very risky, guys. It's very risky. On daily, doesn't agree with that, because we're inside the daily resistance. H4 also does not agree with that, because we just hit the H4 resistance. Let's see the weekly. The weekly also does not agree with the buying, because we just hit the a weekly resistance. So you can see that most of these time frames, they're not really agreeing with us buying. The only thing that could be pointing to the upside on this time frame is the fact that you're having this bullish rejection candlestick and the bullish engulfing. But now all these structures, if they are there being pushed down by the resistance, we're not gonna fight that. We're not gonna fight that, because the resistance is not yet broken. So we cannot fight against that. So which means now, because of where you are on these time frames, you can wait for that confirmation to search for trades to the downside. But even those trades to the downside, even if you get them, it's not long term, because of what? Your monthly is hitting support. So you can't push to the downside for too long. This monthly here is hitting the support. It can still push up. Remember, that's a monthly zone. We are hitting the support. We can still push up, remember, until there. So that's where you're like, if I'm taking my trades, if I get trades maybe on H1 or M15, it's not for long term. It's just quick in and out. Get those, maybe $100 or so, depending on your lot size. But don't push it too much, because that's where, it becomes greed. You feel like you want to catch the entire movement. You don't have to do that. Just catch the enough movement until the next opposite structure, and then when you get there, you exit, take your money, watch on the sidelines, celebrate the win as you're planning to take the next trade when the opportunity presents itself. That's how you move forward. All right, so I think that is all that I can share with you on this one. I hope the breakdown that I'm doing makes sense. And if you feel like there's still some missing links that you're getting on this channel, maybe you feel like you need more clarity on something, or you want me to go into deeper details on a certain concept, you are more than welcome to hit me up on Telegram, or preferably on Telegram, because that's where I'm mostly active, or on WhatsApp using the number here, and then we will take it from there, because there are people that are, like I already mentioned at the beginning of the video, there are people that I'm teaching, and when some of them, when you start with them, they, if you can tell that this person has been, going around, going from this strategy to that one, it's not working, this to that, but now they have come to you, and what you're going to teach them is completely different to what they've been learning. So sometimes for them, it's quite difficult to unlearn what they've learned already. So it's gonna be on you to make sure that you fight with your brain to remove all that information that you come with. Then we start on it instead. You are there like a newbie, even though you've been in the game for some time. You are there like someone who's seeing the chart for the first time. That's how you learn properly. Because if you come with some concepts there and you're battling to remove them from your head, but they haven't been working for you. That's why you're coming to me. It's because of what the ones that you have, they haven't been working for you. So that's why when you come to me, everyone is the same. No one is, I don't know. You've been there for like months, and what someone has just learned, is joined a month back or a few weeks back. You are the same. To me, you are the same. I will approach you the same way, and then those ones that I feel like maybe they need more clarity. Maybe they are not yet comfortable with the terms that are used in trading and stuff. It's not a big deal. By the time we get to the end of the course, everyone should be able to do a top-down analysis, come up with their own setups, and tell us what's happening on the chart. Because I want people, when I release them, everyone, when you open a chart, I want you to be able to tell me what is happening. And when I ask the next person, they should tell me the same thing to show that you guys attended the same course. Here we do things, patience all the way. We mark the structures that are necessary, the areas that are sensitive, and then we plan to execute around them. That is what I teach. I don't complicate things. I make sure everything is as clear as possible. That's why I always avail myself even when people have questions, because I want to make sure that everyone is happy when they come to me. All right, guys, so that's all that I had for you with regards to VIX 75. I think 2 chats for tonight, they should be fine. I will maybe give you another one tomorrow. So otherwise, good night, guys. I'll see you in the next one. If you haven't subscribed, make sure that you do so. All right, cheers.